The old manor stood silhouetted against the perpetually grey sky of the moor, a place forgotten by time and taste. Ashen Wood, they called it, or perhaps the fog merely painted it so. It was here, in its decaying halls, that a small group gathered, drawn by whispers of synaptic resonance, a purported means of sharing dreams, of walking together through the landscapes of the subconscious. I was among them, a seeker of novelty, of experiences beyond the mundane. Beside me were Clara, restless and searching, and Marcus, whose eyes held a nervous flicker. Initially, the shared dreams were innocuous enough. Verdant fields under impossible suns, silent cities of glass, abstract dances of color and light. We would awaken, compare notes over weak tea, and feel a curious bond forming, a fragile bridge built of fleeting dream stuff. It felt harmless, but the pleasant landscapes began to fray at the edges. Cracks appeared, revealing glimpses of something else. The colors grew muted, the light became a perpetual twilight, and then the presence arrived. It wasn't a figure, not at first. More like a distortion in the periphery, a cold breath against the mind. We spoke of it hesitantly at first, each thinking they were alone in their unease. Clara mentioned a feeling of being watched. Marcus described a creeping dread that clung to him even after waking. My own dreams became vast, empty plains under a sky of bruised purple, always with that sense of something vast and unseen just beyond the horizon of my vision. The resonance sessions grew less about exploration, more about survival. We were no longer sharing pleasant visions, but a collective, unfolding nightmare. A presence coalesced. It took the shape of a shadow, elongated and impossibly thin, its movement a sickening glide rather than a walk. It had no face, but its attention felt like a physical weight pressing down, stealing air from our lungs even in the depths of sleep. Sleep offered no respite. The moments before drifting off were filled with a growing terror. We were connected, not just to each other, but to this thing. It was feeding on the link, drawing closer. Pushed by a desperate need to understand, I began sifting through the manor's forgotten archives. Dust-choked rooms yielded crumbling journals and brittle papers. They spoke of the manor's original occupant, a recluse who dabbled in forbidden psychical experiments centuries ago. He sought to bridge realms, to commune with entities beyond human comprehension. His notes grew increasingly erratic, filled with warnings of the grasping void and the whispers from the threshold. He abandoned his work, sealing away his research, hinting that the boundary was breached, and something followed. The synaptic resonance technique wasn't a new invention. It was a rediscovery, unknowingly built upon the foundations of that ancient, disastrous work. We hadn't created a link between our minds. We had reopened a door that had been hastily slammed shut, and the thing on the other side was now fully aware of the passage. The nightmares became indistinguishable from reality. We would see the shadow in the corners of rooms in the waking world, hear faint, discordant whispers on the wind. The manor itself seemed to break, its old timbers groaning like tormented souls. Clara became withdrawn, speaking only in terrified non-sequiturs. Marcus descended into gibbering madness, obsessed with covering all reflective surfaces. The night had fully crossed over. The air in the manor turned to ice. The silence wasn't empty. It was filled with the pressure of its presence. It wasn't just in the dreams anymore. I saw it in the hallway, a rippling tear in the very fabric of the air, from which the elongated shadow emerged. Its form shifted, impossible angles and depths resolving into a shape that defies description, yet felt intimately, horribly familiar from our shared terror. It didn't move towards me, not directly. It expanded, filling the space, the very walls seeming to receive in its presence. A cold, silent understanding flooded my mind, a comprehension of utter, cosmic indifference and hungry void. I don't know what happened to Clara or Marcus. Perhaps they were consumed, their minds dissolving into the nightmare. I flood them in or, but the connection isn't broken. It follows me. The shadow is always just out of sight, in the reflection of a window, in the pooling shadows of a room. Sleep is an invitation I dread, for the dreams are no longer shared with others, but with it. And the line between waking and dreaming has become so thin, I fear soon there will be no line at all, and I will reside solely in the ashen landscape it inhabits.